Hi there, this is Kathy Crow here at the Crow Cottage. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today, it is going to be a fun day. I have just come back from a beautiful bike ride. Oh man, it's nice out there. So if you live anywhere here in Springfield, Missouri, make sure you get out there. It's supposed to rain later today, but it's really nice right now. I mean, super nice. It's nice to have that cooler weather, huh? Okay, I'm doing Fragrant Forest, and this kind of reminds me that today I took a goofy fun video of my spooky forest ride on the bike trail, and if you know us, you might have heard our stories to our kids. We used to tell camping spooky stories that weren't very spooky, but they were fun. And so it was a running joke of the family that whenever we went, we lived in a place, okay, where there are no trees. I mean, seriously, no trees. So anytime we went by a place that had a grove of any trees of substance, it was a spooky forest. So anyway, that's all aside. I just wanted to let you know that over on the Tri-City Crow Garden page, that's where we used to live, in the Tri-Cities. It's all one word, Tri-City, because I can't spell apparently. And I did a huge garden there. So I had like this big page, and I haven't renamed it because I don't want to lose all the pictures of my old garden. It was, 30 years in the making. So if you are interested in that, and I thought of it today as I pulled out, again, Fragrant Forest. I've been goofing around with this all weekend, and I discovered a couple things about it. And so I thought I will share these ideas with you just so that maybe you can save yourself some ink, because it's a big stamp set, It takes a lot of ink to ink this up. And I had kind of over inked some of my pads, so it worked out good to kind of clean those up a bit by using a lot of ink on here. So I think that today, when you watch, you might learn some things to just save yourself some effort on using up your own ink and your own supplies, doing stuff that is not going to work, and you're going to see why it doesn't work, and then you'll see something that does work, and that's always fun. So that's why I like to do this. I am doing this just so that people can see a real live version. This is not cleaned up. It is live as we go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's the way I want it. Here we go. We are going to go on down to the desk. Oh man, since I stopped sharing links and things, my camera is working like tremendously better than it used to. Sweet. All right, because it used to be like I'd have to work at this to get this to function properly. And today, look at that. It just went whoo, swoosh, swoosh. We were down, and like in the old days when I first started, everything went really well. Now, while I am looking at stuff over here on the side so that I can see your comments, let me move this over a bit. I have to cover up this this white space. It tends to really super glare. So let me put my stamp set here. I'll put my little cleanie pad there. And then what I am doing right now is I have to come over here to my other page, and lo and behold, let me see if I can find myself. I think I can. I think I can. And then hopefully I can see your comments. I might not be able to actually comment back yet, but I think I'm going to actually see comments. Sweet. It is so nice to have my comments again on the computer on the side again, because it is really hard, folks, to see comments on a phone while you are trying to do this. All right, this is looking pretty good. I guess we can push it up a tiny bit. All right, now, first of all, I want to just show you, there's one method I am going to use. It's not the first method I'm going to use, just because it's a little bit time-taking, and I want to move through some other things first. But this is my, I did some sparkly silver tinsely embossing, because I think this stamp set's going to look really nice embossed. But as you can see, the detailing is super lost. Let me show you another card where you can actually see the detailing. Okay, now look at that. Now we're going to do one like this so you can see how I did this. It's super easy to do. So this is a great stamp set for people who need one stamp to do a lot with. It's not holiday. You can make it any holiday you want. You can make it any season you want. It doesn't have words because it is a background stamp, but you can put it under almost anything. It's really pretty. You don't have to color it. This is kind of just the way it stamps up. But now look at this. This is in comparison. So see how all that detailing was lost. So I do think I've seen some people that have embossed it. You can emboss it, but not with sparkle. I mean, it is sparkly, and this is going to be fine after I put things on it. But as I was telling my husband, what I'm going to end up having to do is I'm probably going to have to take a stamp section of one that I've already stamped and insert it in here somehow so that people even know what this is. Because unless you've seen this, you're really not going to even know what this is, that these are even trees. It's just going to look like a blob of sparkly silver. You know, those of us who know cards and know what's out here, know this stamp set and all, we're going to know what that is, but other people might not. So anyhow, we are going to emboss, but we are not doing it with sparkle. I learned from this one, you do not want to sparkle it up, because I think it's the sparkling that helped kind of obliterate a lot of the actual detailing. I don't know. It could be because I pressed too hard, because that can happen too. But before we get to that one, we are going to do the other ones. And the first one, you're gonna cry. You are going to cry. I'm sorry, because I think the neatest one that I did, you have to have a Stamparatus. You can use a Misty. That is something that's similar, but we used to sell this wonderful tool called the Stamparatus, and I loved it because it enables me to do stuff like what I'm going to be doing today, and came with extra plates, came with all kinds of stuff. So the first one I'm going to do is that one with a masking technique. So I'm going to pull out my masking sheets. Now, you can save these masking sheets. You can see this is a sky one that I have in here, and I have saved it. And this is just one of the sheets, so I'm going to get one of those out, and I am going to stamp on that, and then I'm going to create a mask for some of the trees, because we are going to do a fun forest. If you live in the Pacific Northwest, or really anywhere in the Rockies, anywhere where there are forests that have a lot of tamarack, you're gonna see beautiful, not just green like our, like this one. It's all green, very nice. But in the fall, you see tamarack, and oh man, it's so pretty. I really wanted to make a card that showed that, and it's okay. I can do it. It's not the easiest technique to do, just because, I don't know, because I'm not very good at it, or because I just wasn't very careful. I don't know why, but anyway, I'm going to slide this in here. Now, normally people would put this in the corner and keep it in the corner. I guess I can do that. I need room for my magnets to keep this down. I need this to really stay solid. And I also have noticed with my cling ones, sometimes where my hinge is, it's harder to get a really good impression that's even if I am too close to the hinge side. And it is not going to matter what, what stamp set you use. So I'm going to kind of try to put it away from I'm going to stick it in the corner. That way it's going to be easy to reposition if my paper does shift, because even with a magnet, it sometimes does, and I really need it to not shift. So I'm just going to put my stamp where I'm going to keep it on here and close the lid to get it stuck to it. And then I'll use these magnets to secure it. I hope you're having a great day, and even though this is the anniversary of the 9/11 horrific event that occurred, there's a whole lot of things. My sympathies to anybody who lost loved ones. There's a lot of loss associated with that. And so I just extend my sympathies and my hopes that things are working out for people who had great tragedies come out of that. Oh, my magnet's a little close. Let me move the little washi tape I have stuck to it there, over there. And hopefully that'll go a little bit better. Okay, now I'm shifting this all up so that hopefully you can see everything good. Okay, I think that's better. All right, let's move my board up actually, and then I can center this better. All right, now I also, because I'm going to be using green, I have got on the side here, I wet a whole bunch of paper towels because I don't want to get a ton of green stuff going on my, well, these are actually napkins. I just grabbed a bunch of napkins and wet them down because, and I have do I have my overhead fan on? Yes, I do. So, because it gets warm in this room, even on a cool day like today, the sun really beats in on the big windows next to me. And I love having them open. I could pull the blind, but I don't want to because we've got little hummingbirds and a hummingbird feeder there, and they are so fun and cute. So I don't want to miss seeing them. All right, so what I'm going to do first, this is a color actually we don't have anymore, but I'm going to use it anyway. This is Mango Melody. Let me look and see. I believe this is a retired one. You could use, I would not use Lemon Lolly. Lemon Lolly's not going to work. You could use Crushed Curry. Daffodil Delight would work also, but I am going to stick with my Mango Melody because it's the color that's actually going to match what I'm trying to do here the best. So I'm going to stamp first with that, and that is going to give me all those lovely tamarack colors. Okay, so I'm going to move this here, and if you put a case underneath that plate, it'll help support it so you can really press down on it and ink this up good. Okay, so we're gonna ink that really good. I'm gonna use this tool here. This is a very handy tool to make sure you've got even pressure all over everything. And then we're gonna lift that up. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, what I need is, I need to do some here. I'm gonna just put my whole, let's see, we're gonna do, boy, I'm gonna have to tear this apart because I actually want a few of these. So I want my masking here. I'm gonna do some masking here. And I'm covering these up because I'm gonna re-stamp and get some of the trees that I want to have as my tamarack. Let's ink that again, because it doesn't really, this is just throwaway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. I actually ended up with some darker over there. I don't know if I'm going to like that, but anyway. So here's my little masking, and we'll deal with that later. I've got enough trees that I'll be able to use that. That's perfect. This issue, I don't know. I might save this piece for another go where I can experiment with this, or we might even use it again later. But before I ruin my first project, I think I'm going to do another one, because the more you press down on that, the more you lose your detailing on all those little pine needles. And I definitely don't want to lose the detail. It's beautiful. And I already am going to be inking up and re-stamping, you know, with green. So we're already re-inking. So I don't want too much extra stamp color going in there. There, that's much better. So now, so that you can compare, it looks pretty good. Didn't lose too much detailing, but it just tends to. So now I'm going to switch this around so you can see what's going on. I'm going to clean that one off, and we're going to do our green. But before I do the green, I need to cut out the mask pieces that are going to cover up all of the ones that I do not want green, because I obviously did these wonderful, well, hi there, Angie, watching from South Carolina, awesome. It is so nice to live close to so many beautiful places you wouldn't believe. Now, I know you're probably thinking, if you were I was from the Pacific Northwest, we moved from there. Yeah, there are a lot of beautiful places there too, it's true. But I grew up there, so, you know, you just tend to kind of, you know, I saw a whole lot of, that was me just dinking with that chime I have back there. All right, so you just want to cut, I want this tree, but I don't want this green one. That one's going to stay green. So I'm going to go really close to what my little tamarack tree is going to be and cut out. Obviously, all this white background is fine. I don't need to worry about it. It's going to stay white for now. We'll change it later. But I really am concerned about keeping my green tree that's next to this little tamarack one green. I want it to stay green. So there's one. That's going to be one masked tree. And if you've seen a forest, do you get tamarack trees, Angie, in your forests? In your evergreen forest? Because we haven't been over to, now the trunk doesn't matter. I'm not even going to do the, no, actually I do want, I want to cut that trunk off because having it green is going to be better than having it gold. Because we haven't driven over that far east yet. And I was curious because here in Missouri, I don't see these kinds of, our forests are all deciduous mostly. There are evergreens in them, but mostly it's deciduous. So, and they're not evergreen deciduous. I mean, they're evergreen. So we don't see these tamaracks in Missouri too much. So that's just been different. Now, where's the other one? Is this it? This must be it. I don't think I got a complete one. Where's this one going? Now, let me see. I have to see what I've done. So this is this one. Oh, I don't want them right right on top of each other. This one must be this one. Okay, this one's this one. And where's the other one? I want one kind of hidden over here. How about this one? I think this one will be nice. Let's do this one. Because again, the tamarack, you don't see them a lot. There's never that many, at least it seems. When we went through, I think outside of Denver, when we were driving when I was a child, because I don't think Jeff and I have gone through that way through Denver, but that is beautiful in there. You really see the tamarack in there. This is the one I wanted. Where does this one go? Oh, it's this one. I don't know if I can get that one in. Again, I'm gonna cut closer to the actual tree and cut some of it off. There's white around these little trees. There's just a tiny hint of white to define them. But my stamp it better be in exactly the same place, so it shouldn't ink over it. I sure hope it doesn't. Because I think that's the one I wanted. There, we'll get rid of that one. We're going to do that one and that one. And, okay, I'm pretty sure I had another. I thought I did it for I really wanted one up here. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut one of these, and then it's going to become my mask for one of these up here. I think we want green, remember, all over where, let me find one that'll work. I think that one will work. Let's thin it out a bit. Meaning I'm just trimming it so that I want less of it covered. Okay, we're gonna do it there. All right, so now I've got my little, now this is sticky, this is Stampin' Up's masking paper, so it's a sticky back. Of course, now I haven't left myself a spot to unattach it. But this way it can stick right on there, and you kind of really want to do that. You've never heard, you have pine trees. Okay, so you've never heard, tamarack is a pine tree, I think. It could be a cypress. We had in our garden from Washington, we had it was called Golden Dawn cypress tree. Oh, it was beautiful. And I hope it'll grow here because I'm still looking for another one. Oh, they're terribly expensive. Of course, mine I bought was, I don't know if you can see, it was this tall, you know, maybe a little taller. It was really small, and we had it for, I think we had it probably for about 12 years, so it grew to about 15 feet, maybe not quite that tall in the amount of time that we had it. So they grow pretty, it's a cypress, you know, but the particular one I had was a metasequoia type one, which is supposedly a little bit shorter, so it's not going to be quite the giant redwood type cypress. Okay, so get that in there. That's going to stick down, and you do want to push down the edges because you want your stamp to color all around and just not color these little trees that are going to be my tamarack. So we do have that in those forests, and they are so gorgeous in the fall. Because, you know, I dreamed about living back. When I was a kid, we lived in Indiana. So I had a memory. We moved when I was 5. But I had a memory of beautiful deciduous forests in the fall. Of course, I'd seen pictures, so I knew it was gorgeous. And I really wanted to live where those kinds of forests are. So, is that where I had that? Now I'm doubting myself, but anyway. So that's one reason that Jeff and I moved here, is because when he retired, we looked around the nation to see where we want to live, and this is a beautiful place, and we love it. It's fabulous. But after we'd lived here about a year and a half, you know, by that time, we'd gone through 2 fall seasons. And I realized, you know, I kind of miss the evergreens that change color. There's some evergreens, kind of miss the evergreens. So that's one reason I love going down to our Japanese garden. Jeff and I go down there quite often and enjoy looking at the evergreens, because they have a variety of evergreens there in the botanical garden. It's beautiful. And, you know, the other thing that I miss that you have, Angie, in those pine trees is the scent of pine needles roasting in the sun. That pine scent is really, really unique and beautiful, and I don't have that scent here because we just don't have enough pine trees. I mean, we're not around it. There are a lot of pine trees probably somewhere here in Missouri, but we haven't been everywhere in Missouri. So all right, I'm sticking that right there and hoping for the best. I better do it straight. You want it better to have it straight up and down. Maybe we'll do this one instead. Yeah, maybe we'll do that one instead. I really wanted this one. But I don't really want too much color. Usually there's only 2. When you look at a big hill or mountain that's filled with pine trees like this, there's usually, you know, a few. And they do go through varying colors. And they're all going to be gold. But I'm just doing this in gold. And we're going to see what happens now, okay? This is where the magic happens on this stamp set. This is probably one of my favorite ways to use it. I haven't really put it into a card too much yet. I've just made the front of it. All right, now making sure my paper's set. It looks like it is. I think we're good good to go. Let me push this up a bit. And I'm going to use, let's do shaded spruce. We'll do shaded spruce. Now to color all the other trees except for the ones that I have masked. So you want to green this up really good. This is where you start getting a lot of green all over your hands. Seriously bad. Oh, we went to that same garden with the Japanese garden. We had a fall festival there this weekend. Oh, it was nice. So nice. Okay, there was a lot of Japanese culture all over the place. They did a really good job. We got to see a martial arts exhibition. That was neat. Woohoo! All right. Now let's pull this up. You can see that it's leaving a little bit more than I wanted. All of these are nicely green, it's true. But because of the edges of my masking, I kind of wanted those to be a little bit smaller maybe, so that more of that was not that way. But I think I'm going to work on that separately. I don't really want to ink this again because I don't want more ink than what we've already got. But I'm going to show you what to do when that happens, because you're going to see all of those trees that you really wanted colored didn't get your ink, right? So let's peel this off and see what the damage is. I'm going to reposition my paper because I'm still thinking about re-inking because there's quite a bit. If there wasn't as much of this, like this one particularly is the one that I really want green here. So I'm thinking about maybe re-inking. Let me grab my this one that I'm kind of discarding. And we're going to cut this one out. We're going to go really, really close to it. Is that the one I wanted? No, I wanted this one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go really close in here. We're going to re-ink that one right next to it. I'd rather err with having more green than having more gold. I'm going to just lay that on there, hoping that'll get some green on it. And then I do want to cover this one up. Okay, so I'm just grabbing this one. And we're going to trim, but I wanted that to be really green, so I'm going to cutting quite a bit off here. We'll see what happens. I'm making it pretty skinny. Okay. This one's not too bad, but since I've already chopped up this one, I might as well go for it and grab this one too. Now, if the edges of your needles are a little bit green, I think that's going to be better than having those needles be too yellowy right next to the tree you're trying to cover up. Okay, and one more. This one right here. We're going to just do a tiny bit on that one. Although I kind of like how that one turned out. Maybe I want a little bit more on that one. I'll do a bit more on that one to cover it up. Okay. All right, now I am not going to ink up that whole surface, just some of it because it's kind of dried out while I was goofing around. So let's just ink up this area and this area and this top area right there. I'm not inking all of it up. And I'm just kind of pushing around. This is the one I really wanted green. Right there. Woohoo, I think. Beautiful. Now that's better. Much, much better. Okay. All right, so now we've got our tamarack really standing out. You can see some areas that you're going to want to clean up. And let me show you how to do that. I think you're going to like this. Yes, the scent, I'm glad you appreciate it. The sap is terrible. Angie, I forgot about how bad the sap was. I forgot when you're away from things, you know. You forget the bad parts, right? Let me get this out of here before I spill water on it. How many times have you done that? I do it a lot. I know better. How come I don't? I keep this, I start cleaning stuff like right over something I've just stamped and then realize, oh man, I just dropped a big glob of water on something I just finished doing that was beautiful. So the reason I'm using my wet napkin is just to get rid of most of that green ink, because it really does a number on my stamp, my Simply Chamois really fast. And then I have to go clean it like immediately because it's like super, super green. You can see some sparkles because I think when I think I did something with glitter, and man, glitter is just, it's evil. It never leaves. All right, and you are so right. That sap, I'd forgotten about that. All right. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. All right, now you're going to see how to clean up these edges, okay? I don't need my little scraps anymore. I'm going to throw away all of the little extras because I'm not going to do any more masking today. That was it. The other things that we're going to do with this stamp set do not involve masking. It's a timely sort of thing. You don't want to take a ton of time doing. So what I'm going to do is grab one of I've got a shaded spruce pin. This is an old one, so if this is a really super fine tip, which is kind of nice because what I can do is come in and get those little branches that got covered up a little bit with my gold that I kind of wanted to have green. And then I can kind of fix that. Okay, so I'm just putting random lines, different, kind of trying to go with the directionality of the tree. Let me lower it down a bit, and then maybe you can see a bit clearer what I'm doing. You can kind of see the way those little strokes are. Just try to match them up, but you do want to use whatever the green was. You got to have the Stampin' Right pen to match it, right? So find all of these little branches. There's a little line there. And then you can go through. And you can add some in if you even wanted to. You could do that. Oh man. We were surprised when we were at the Japanese garden that apparently the anime community really is into the Japanese culture, because there was a lot of anime stuff. And then, well, not displayed or anything. I mean, they're just people that were there that were obviously into the anime thing. So that was sort of surprising to us. There were furries. I did see at not a lot, but a few, but there were a lot of events going on too. So who knows? There might have been like special events that were part of what that was that we were seeing. I don't want this. Where there is not tamarack, it could be some behind, but if there's obviously none behind, cover up, any kind of gold that's in there. You don't really want that. It doesn't matter if there's like a hint here and there, but you don't really need that. But we saw some bonsai. Oh man, really nice bonsai. I don't have the money to purchase it. I was hoping I might find something, that was something I could afford. I always think I'm going to do my own bonsai. I tried it in the Tri-Cities with a bush that was like something vigorous. I don't remember. I thought for sure I could do it, but no. It is not a lot. I do not have that challenge. It is much harder to do than you would think. You gotta have, I think you might have to have some training for that. All right, now I've got, what have I got here? I have pumpkin pie and I have cinnamon cider. Now my cinnamon cider has the old tip, so although I'd probably rather use my pumpkin pie, I really need a fine tip. I'm gonna put these magnets back in here. It'll keep this from shifting because I want my little trunks to be more brown than green. Okay, so I'm gonna, where it's a gold trunk, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put some trunkage, if that's a word, right up the tree, because I really don't want it to be gold. But you would not see a lot of the trunk, of course, so, you know, we'll just do some here. That one I don't really see, but I see a splotch right there, so I'm gonna just do that. You might see some branching there, here and there too. So if it's kind of looking fake, go ahead and do that. You could do like maybe just a bit of branching there too, as well as your trunk. And I'm going to do more with that. I'm not quite done, so don't panic. And then I'm going to take I think I'm going to take the pumpkin pie, or not pumpkin pie, pecan pie. It's fatter because this is the new tip. So I have to be much more careful. These trunks are really dark, so I'm not really needing to do this. I was kind of hoping I could cover that green up a little, but it's definitely staying green. I'm not seeing brown. Even right here where I'm trying to put a trunk here and there, brown, it's not showing up brown. It's really staying green. So you can live with it. It's fine. Now to make this part look just maybe a little softer and not quite so false, I'm gonna take let's grab my yellows. And I think I'll take my light mango melody. Let's see if I can do something with that. No, that's not quite doing it. I just want to lighten it up, and it's not really cooperating. So I'm going to take a gel pen. If all else fails, I can lighten it up just a little bit with my gel pen. Okay, like that. And then it kind of just softens that up a tiny bit, because it was just looking a little too obvious there. Too dark and too obvious. This one's not so bad. It was this one, I think, that I'm particularly not thrilled with. I'm just kind of pulling some of that trunk back out that I had in there. Getting it out of there. Take my marker. This is Pineapple Punch. Oh, that's a long time ago, but it's a very yellow one. And I'm making sure that's nice and dry. I don't want any of that marker on my, that gel pen. I don't want that on there, but then that'll kind of get rid of the white, that was there. I didn't necessarily want the white. I just wanted my brown to be just a little less obvious. Okay, so now that is good. We're going to live with that. I think you could have done better without doing that. I think next time I won't bother putting the trunk in, and if I do, I'm going to just be much more limited and not do it all the way up, just a little bit. All right, now we've got to do the background. I need the ground to be sponged, because we've got little like green tufts, But what we want is a nice brown background. Let me put my apparatus. That's drying out already, my goodness. When I have my overhead fan on, it dries out really fast. Okay, I think we're going to take crumb cake and use that to sponge. Now I do kind of want to cover up some of this. I'm going to take, I'm going to just grab a sticky note. If I can find one here. I'm just going to grab a little sticky note and kind of cover up some of my tips. You know, some of it where it's likely to get too covered up with my sponging. I need more sticky note. Just a tiny bit right here. Let's see if that'll stick on there. Perfect. Okay, and then I can fix it as we go. All right, so I'm going to try to get some crumb cake here. Let me get some of that off. That kind of came on dark. It looks a little greeny because it is pulling some of that ink from your tree in, because it's green, right? So it will do that. Don't worry, we're not done with it. Okay, so now we've got that. That was crumb cake. And then I'm going to take pecan pie, and we're going to use that with the shadowing under the trees. Now I do have, this I've got on Amazon. This is like a little skinny brush. It's the same as our other brushes. It's just very skinny. And it allows me to get right in here underneath. Right, all of those little shaded pieces are kind of right where you want to go with this. Those little shaded spots. And then underneath all the trees, you want to sponge it in darker. Move it down. So as you're sponging, you're going into it in a way down, you know, away from the tree, just kind of dragging some of that shading out from the bottom of the tree and down, like it would be in a forest. It would be shaded the most right under that tree, and then moving out a little bit lighter away from the tree. Okay, I'm going to get that spot there and there and right here. I want it pretty dark right there. Pretty dark right there. And there. I love that. It looks pretty good. Okay, I think we're ready to reveal how that turned out. Woohoo, I love that. It looks great. I see some spots to clean up. It's okay. Better to have not got into my tree too much, because I can clean that up. I just don't want it to be too dark. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to get our crumb cake color out in our blending pen, if I can find it, the dark one. Okay, so this is dark crumb cake. Oops, we don't want the big brush. We want the bullet tip. And then we're gotta be careful with that. That's a little too dark. Let's do the light one, because I don't want it to be too obvious that I've done this. Okay. That side's pretty dark. I'll probably have to do that one. Everywhere that it was really dark, you'll have to use the darker one. Just right up against the edge of the tree. And then we're going to smooth it in with our sponge. But this way I didn't mess up my tree too much. I really didn't want to have too much ink going in and covering up that beautiful gold. Okay, I'm going to take this, make it even smaller. Teeny, teeny, tiny. I just need a tiny, tiny, tiny piece. Like that. You just kind of want to smooth in your ink. Let me grab my, what was I using? I was using, oh, here it is, pecan pie. Let's grab that back out again. All right. Very good. That's looking a little bit better. Oops, I overdid it there. Right there. And right there. Just kind of going in to cover up where my, ink was, so it doesn't look so much like a line. You definitely don't want a line. Better to cover up some of your tree detail than to have a real line going there. Let me pull that off. All right, now I am going to put my sentiment here partially to cover up that flub. All right, so there you go. Now you have your tamarack forest. And again, you can do what you need to try to fix your edges. I would be careful though with the marker, because the marker, it's really hard to mimic the lines of the actual stamp itself. So let me find a crumb cake marker. I'm sure I have one here somewhere. Oh, that's Pebbled Path. That's not it. I thought I had a crumb cake marker. I'm sure I do. All right, what's this? That one's crumb cake. That one's crumb cake. Okay, so we have the fine tip here of crumb cake. So you can kind of go in there and fix some of that. But like I said, I'd be careful. See, that doesn't really... I don't think that looks as good as just the sponging. That's why I didn't do it. It doesn't match perfectly because I've pulled in so many other colors there. That just sort of messed up my tree. So I'm definitely going to have to cover this when I put my sentiment on it. I'll probably do it on the side there. If you want to go through and make any changes, use your green to do that. I think I would use the green more than anything else. This is my shaded spruce. It looks like I could use a little bit more right there and there, just to make it more natural looking. Okay, and I could, so like with this big flub, and I know I'm going to cover this anyway, I could make my tree next to it kind of go in. We'll fix this problem by making my next door tree bigger. Okay, I'm showing you all the little things you can do when you've made a terrible mistake and you want to fix it. Well, just let's stick in another little pine tree, like right here, just a little one. It's kind of sticking in here, and then it's going to kind of conceal that spot that I've totally flubbed up. Just lots of lines, lots and lots of little lines, and we'll get you in here. Okay. And I could continue on with that, but I'm not going to because I am going to put something else on top of that anyway. But just showing you that anywhere you think it doesn't look very natural, just keep adding your little bit of green. Just a little. Don't go into that white edge. You don't want to cover that white edge up, but you can go right into the other part. You know, where the green tree already is. All right, so that is the tamarack forest. We're not done. So what I would do is I would trim that up. Let me show you the one I've already done. And you can see I kind of had a problem with the same tree. Oh, there's another one there. I didn't even notice. That's actually a separate tree. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. So my trunks, I was able to make those a little more brown on this one. I'm not sure why. And you can see I still did the lines. For some reason, they look better than these. And I didn't do them as much. That's why, I believe. Everything else was the same. I just edged it with Mango Melody and shaded spruce, and then I'll put some kind of you know, other thing together. I might fix that into a card before we're done. We'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I wanted to show you a few things. I'm done with the Stamparatus. I'm going to just use my regular stamp block for the rest of the things we're doing, because those things are going to just be stamped straight on. Or oh no, I forgot. No, they're not. The next thing, I've got one more card with the Stamparatus. There's one other thing you want to do while you've got it out. You want to do that. Okay, let me grab another piece of cardstock. My son Joel, when we were just finishing up with our Japanese garden tour and the Japanese fall festival and what was it, the martial arts exhibit. That was fun. He sent a photo in my text message of a giant potato. Yes, a giant potato. I want to make sure that's clean. I don't want to lay this down if it's not. Make sure that green ink can really do a number on your stuff. They live in Idaho, so it was a giant potato in a pickup truck. I mean, it was a giant one. And so I said to Jeff, oh, Joel, he just sent us a picture of this giant potato in a truck. And so Jeff, because I said it like that, thought it was a real potato when I showed him the picture. He's like, that's gotta be fake. But yeah, obviously, like it filled the whole pickup back. It was hilarious. Joel, he's so funny. All right, so this one, what we're gonna do, this is really a pretty one, this card. What we're gonna do first is I'm gonna sponge on top first, before I do anything else. I'm gonna sponge some copper clay on here. So actually, let's do this on my paper. I don't really want to do it there. I need more room. So we're going to sponge copper clay all over here. This is going to be the back side of those trees, the understory. Okay, it doesn't need to be too dark. We're going to be covering a lot of this with a tree, so I don't really want it to be too dark. I think I wanted clay, kind of like a clay soil that these trees are going to be on. So that's why we're doing copper clay. Our soil here is really dark. Do I want it this side? Do I want it this way? I think we're going to do it that way. That'll give me some white here at the top for all of those trees. It'll be pretty dark here. Trying to see where the most white is what I'm thinking. All right, now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use lemon. I want the lightest color we've got. Lemon Lime Twist. Ooh, this is a nice bright green. That's what I want to do first. Okay, make sure that's far out and away. All right, so we'll do that one first. Press that on really good. Ooh, that's nice and green. It's very, very green. I'm going to use my napkin first before I use my Simply Chamois to clean that green off. I'm going to have to pull that plate right out because the napkin, you know, works great to get the ink off, but it sort of shreds as I go. So it's definitely not you can't just leave it that way. You gotta use a Simply Chamois is great. If you don't have one, you really need to get one. All right, now I've got that all in place. It's ready to go. We did our really nice bright green. Now we're gonna put in some dark green. So we'll put in our shaded spruce. Okay, a little bit of shaded spruce. Let me put this under here so I have some support. I forgot to do that before. Okay, now I'm going to do this one really lightly. I'm not pushing very hard because I'm not quite done. I kind of want it there, but not too much. I don't want to cover up all of that beautiful, you know, parakeet party. Isn't that pretty? So you've got a couple of greens going in there. It sort of softened up all that copper clay soil, didn't it? You can hardly tell that I've even sponged there. And you see all that green? You definitely don't need that all over your Simply Chamois. Whoa. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And then I want more definition for this color, and I want that to be covered. I didn't get enough right there for sure. There's a few little splotches here and there. And I really want something super dark, and our darkest green is our Evening Evergreen. This is going to be really nice. But we got to go easy on it. I don't really want, you know, I want this in here, but I don't want it to totally cover up all of my other greens. Okay, so let's see how it looks. I definitely want that one, and that edge has got to be pushed in. There's even a little splotch of something there, that edge. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to push more than other spots. I'm kind of pushing down. I want my trunks to be dark, so I'm going to do those. Now let me look, see how it's going. Looks like I need a little more there. So I'll push really hard on that one. And there. So we're pushing pretty good there, and a little bit here. That's looking good. I think, right? Is it that one? Yeah, it is. I don't know. Something's on my card or the stamp itself. I bet there's a little, I can see it. There's actually a little bit of probably my napkin or glitter or something right there. Let me just, right here. Let's try that again. See if we can get rid of that spot. It's not going, so I'm not going to stamp anymore because every time I do that, it covers up that parakeet party a bit more. Now, if you want your parakeet party to look stronger than that, for heaven's sakes, just stamp it again, okay? Because it'll keep, but the more you stamp, always the scary thing is am I eliminating some of my detail of this beautiful stamp set? It's such a pretty one. So you got to be careful of that. All right. Let me grab my Simply Chamois. Hopefully I'm getting all of that paper towel or napkin lint off. I love that. That's so gorgeous. But you're going to be surprised at just how a little bit of extra in the groundwork is going to make that just really pop out even more. Okay, so I'm taking the same things that I did before, pecan pie, okay, and the same little skinny stamp, or stamp, what am I thinking, sponge, the skinny sponge, and I'm putting the ink strong right here. Here, let me come down so you can see what's happening. Putting it right under the tree and then down. Okay, just right under your tree, where it's good, the ink's going to show the strongest. And then down. I'm going to have to cover up where I pushed in a little too much there. I'm going to have to do a little more than I would want to right there. But that's okay. Again, your accidents actually sometimes are going to help you do some things that you wouldn't have thought actually is going to look good. So don't be afraid of your accidents. If at the very worst, you could always just start over again. That's why I like doing this. It's a kind of craft that's very forgiving. It's, I don't know, different than sewing. When I did sewing, I was always frustrated with my results. And I think it's because to start all over again in a sewing project is like, oh, that was a lot of work and time to get to this point. I don't want to. I don't want to start over. I'm going to just throw that one away. Cut it up for some kind of other project, you know, later. So I think that's why I like this craft better than sewing. Some people love sewing. They're better at it than I am. Which I'm not gonna, isn't probably even saying all that much. It's just that I'm pretty terrible. I even kind of gave up on my Barbie clothes. I had some Barbie patterns that I'd found, and yeah, it was harder to do than I remembered. I'd made a bunch before when I was a kid. Okay, look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Now, if like here, about a little bit too much, you know, where I wanted it to be lighter. You can take a darker color. Here's Early Espresso. This is going to be really dark. And then just very carefully, don't get too carried away, make it just a little darker up here under those trees. And then it'll look like it's not quite as non-dimensional as it would if you didn't do that. Okay. All right. Very, very pretty. Now for this one, I took our, we've got some green foil. It's a melon mambo and a lemon lime green foil. And that's what's on the back side of that. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right, that is that one. We're not done yet. I still want to do one more just to show you how to make your ground cover really, really nice with not brown, you know, because you're not always going to want brown for that. So take a piece of white cardstock again. This time, instead of doing a brown background, a brown one, make it a green one. Now, where is my green sponge? Huh. I don't really see my, no, is that it? I bet I used blue on it. Because that's my green one. Okay, so apparently I've used sponge, this one for green, blue, and purple. All right, we're going to take, let's see, we want something light. Not Parakeet Party. I think Old Olive, but I think I'm going to grab out, I want something green, but it's got to be, how about garden green? Let's use some garden green. I think it'll be better if it's garden green. Oh yeah, this is going to be nice. Really nice. Now, the nice thing about it is, since we're putting green trees in here, is you don't have to really leave any white. You could cover this whole thing up, really. It's going to be fine. But I do want some of it to be a little lighter than others because we're not going to just have a green carpet. You know, in a pine forest, you don't usually have. The green that's there is the needles that have fallen down. You're generally not going to have too many clumps of grass, I don't think, in that forest. Today when I was riding in the park, or just not in the park, but it was on the bike path goes up into the park, but I decided to stop at the top of the driving range that's right there just before you enter the park. Just because I knew today I was not going to have time to go in and dilly-dally in the park and come back and have time to do this Facebook Live. So I stopped at the top of the park, on the top of the driving range, and I saw there were a ton of robins up on the top of the driveway. Do robins like to eat things? Like, what would they get at the top of the driving range? I don't know. I've never seen them there. There were probably more than 20 robins in the field. And when I rode in, I kind of rode, they were like all over on both sides of the path, and they didn't seem to be bothered by me at all. So it was quite interesting. Now, I think I can use this, but I guess I'll go ahead and do it. I'm going to take a risk here of flubbing, but I'm going to show you why that's, again, the Stamparatus is better just because you've already seen you can keep restamping. If you're using a block like this, you're pretty much stuck with what you get. And I'm going to use Shaded Spruce again. It's a nice evergreen color. It's going to coordinate nicely with this garden green, but definitely be different. One thing you can do with this, if you do want your trunks to be brown, is you can take your marker and you can, you know, you could lift off. Do I have any of my paper towel left? Here's my little cleany cloth, I suppose. I could take all of these little trunks off a little bit, okay? But the problem is, in doing this, I'm going to have to re-ink all around the trunk, so I don't really know how effective this is going to be. We will just see, because then you're going to have to act kind of quickly. And I've got Early Espresso as a marker. I'm going to re-ink up the trees, which is not easy to do, and not ink up the trunks too. In fact, I am inking up the trunks. I can see that I am as I do this, because it's just pretty hard not to. Okay, I'm just doing this again just because I want to make sure my trees go good. If I had a Stamparatus going, if I had not done this, I could have inked up my trunks, laid it down and done that, and then done this, right? Okay, well, I didn't, so we're going to just go ahead and stamp it on. Oops, I put it 2 times on there. We'll see how it looks. Now, make sure you do not shift it. It's a big stamp, and we tend to not put as much pressure in the middle. So make sure, if you're getting to be an older lady like me and a little weak, make sure you've pressed everything down really good before you try to lift it up. Another reason I love that Stamparatus. Boy, I wish we were still selling it. Ooh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Looks really good. I am very happy with that. This is why I love to stamp. It's like, oh, that looks good. And I did do it, but I don't have to really take the credit for it because it's the design of the stamp. I mean, whoever did that, you're a genius. It looks so nice. Can you imagine how hard it would be to carve a stamp and have all the detail right where you want it? Because the detail is going to be showing up most against all of the void spaces. You need all those little void spaces to get that detail. I mean, how talented are they? I know they draw designs and a machine does this, but still, I mean, I'm impressed. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm putting my stamp back in there because this is the last one that I'm going to do, and then I'll make one card really quick out of one of these, and we will be done. It's so beautiful. Look at that. This is one you've just got to have. It's a great background for all kinds of projects. Okay, now we want to get a green sponge going, a little one. We have some little ones. And that one's my brown one. I thought I had a green one. Okay, so we have these little ones, which are really handy. And I'm going to add, I don't know if I wanted to, have to be careful. This is that evening evergreen. That one's pretty dark. So I want to be a little careful with this one. Just where the little clumps are. I'm just going to add a little bit more color. And I am wiping off on the side just because I don't trust it. It's pretty dark. This evening evergreen, I have gotten to almost black at times, thinking, it's pretty dark. I didn't know it was going to be that dark. See how dark that is? I forgot to go off the page to do it. Okay, so that's a little extra green. That's good. I did want a little bit more. And then I'm going to use this pumpkin pie in my little skinny brush again. Just a little bit, just to show that, yes, we do have some brown in here. It's not all green, because it wouldn't be. No forest is going to have a whole ground full of brown under it. And by the same token, it won't have a whole bunch of, it does sometimes have brown, but that's just because we're in a drought and usually there's some brown and some green. Got a little carried away on that one. Okay. Kind of trying to just smooth that spot out that I really put way too much on there. Okay, there we go. Much better. I love it. It is nice. And then after you have done that, you just trim it up. Now this, it makes a really large card. I have no idea how big that would be. I'm going to cut off the side. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this side off. And then we'll measure it and see what we've got. And then we'll cut the top off. And the bottom. And then let's see what we've got. So it actually is at 4 1/4, which is too wide. It's 5 1/4 almost. That's right about the right length. This way, it's too wide. So just look at it and see where you don't like, you know, what you don't like. Do you want to cut more of this, more of this? I'm going to cut more of this, and I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. Now, if I really wanted that tree because I'd made it a tamarack or whatever, then I would just cut a little bit off of this side and then turn it and put it at the 4 inches and then cut the rest on that side. Now you've got your 4 inch this way, and I still do need to cut just a tiny bit off of the bottom because I really want it to be there. This is about, I need just about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to take that off of this top. Okay, there we go. So that's our standard card size, which is going to be 5 1/4 this way and 4 inches that way. And then our background, since I used pecan pie, I'm going to just grab a piece of pecan pie right here. We'll cut this at 5 1/2 and 4 1/4. Now, one thing you can do before you've mounted it to this is you can emboss it. And you know what? I've tried a few different embossings. I used our Rooted in Nature stamp to make this wood. Looks really nice. And then also emboss the tag. That looks really good. I like that wood with it. So that's Rooted in Nature. That's available. I also took our, I think Rooted in Nature is the one that also has these hearts. I don't remember. This heart thing is in, maybe it's in with these nested dies. Let me look really quick at our nested dies. No, it's not. So it might be in the Rooted in Nature because I don't think I pulled anything else out. But I cut out these hearts and put that on there, and that looks really good. And then for the background, I cut 3 Granny Apple Green backings and cut them so that I could get the skinny tiny border, because the border that comes with it is just a bit larger. Okay, but the other thing that I did with it, where's that other card? Where did I put it? It's got to be here somewhere. I took our old pine plank. I really liked it. Our old pine plank, and did that with it, and that I don't know. I think I liked the pine plank thing best. That looks really good. Pine wood plank. That's a retired one. We do have Evergreen Forest. You know, Evergreen Forest is nice. This is probably retired too. But I don't know that I want all of it as Evergreen Forest. I just thought the pine wood plank one, I thought that would look really, really cool. I have not done our new little not time worn type. It's kind of like time worn type. It's the, oh, I can't even see it here. It's the textured tile. What is it? It's called textured tin. Anyway, I'm getting out time worn type because I couldn't find it. Yeah, you know, textured is a textured tin sort of thing. I don't know. But this has a texture with it, and it's sort of rustic. Has like words, and I think I'm going to like it maybe even a little bit better. But doing this embossed, oh boy, it looks really nice. You're going to like it. All right, I'm going to just put my embossing plates in through here. Hopefully that's not too fat. Good. Sometimes that one can be kind of snug. Sometimes I have to get a different plate instead of that blue one. And I don't even know if the one they have now is blue. This is like the first plate they came up with our embossing plate. And I don't even know if it's blue still. All right, now after you have done that, if you want to see more of that texture and make it more of a sort of a classic chic kind of thing, Maybe you should have inked it up with a little bit of chalk white, just a little, and then that would do it. You also can just take your chalk white. Let me find mine. Where is it? There it is. And you can just, after you've embossed it, you have to make sure you've embossed it. Like this is the debossed side, so it means everything's going down into the card. This is the embossed side, so it's raised, and then you can take your other ink and you just, oh man, you gotta be careful. Gentle, gentle, and then wherever you go over it with this, it's gonna come up just a little bit, but you have to be really careful. Very gentle. Don't push down. Don't push down at all. You're just barely touching the surface. Barely touching it. And then you can see that you're embossing a tiny bit. Another thing that you can do is just emboss it a couple of times. We've got, oh, look at my pad. That ink came up on it. I do not like that. Let's take this. Try to get some of that off. Oh my goodness, can you believe that? Oh, I'm so upset about that. Catherine. Okay, so don't do that then. Use, you can use like a, I think what I would do is use, next time, I'll remember not to do that on my freshly inked green. Green's one of the worst. Reds could be bad too. Use a little teeny tiny ink pad spot and put your white ink in that and use that to rub an inked image like I just did, so you don't end up with your sickly green edge on your nice white thing. That was so annoying. Anyway, I'm doing this again, doing it live, so that you can see all the things you do not want to do. I love doing this. I'm doing this because I want to make sure that people enjoy making cards. You don't want to have to work at something and then decide that you just didn't do it right or anything. You did just fine. And then you're going to send it to someone. And even if it didn't turn out quite the way you envisioned it, they are going to love it. I made this I started doing cards so long ago just because it's people didn't get things in the mail anymore that were fun and good. And I wanted to bring joy to people. I'm a Christian, so I wanted to spread God's love. It's another way you can do that. And it's a nice thing to encourage other people to do too, whether they are just sending, good greetings to people or, a little bit of, how to live better information. That works too. Now take that, and then if you're going to use a ribbon or anything like that, wrap it up. Oh, ribbon. I don't know about ribbon. Not so sure that I need that. I think I might have a circle. Oh, I do. I have a circle already stamped. This is very vanilla, but it will work. It'll cover up my little splotch right there. And see how nice that looks just like that? Pretty good, pretty good. We've got, what do we have? We've got my Christmas things here. Oh, that's not what I want. Where is that stamp set that I've been using? There's a sentiment stamp set that I've had out. So Sincere. I love it. This is a new one in our new catalog. So Sincere. We've got everything. Something for everyone. Just love spending time with you. Now that's the one I've used with this forest probably the most. Because in a forest, you're usually spending that time with others. Be grateful for what you have all by itself, or with the be proud of who you are. Very nice. Knowing you brings joy to my heart. I love that. Now I'm going to use that one because it's probably more up and down, and I'm thinking this way, something more. You've got your kindness is so appreciated. Hope your day is a happy one. There's the feel better. Hope you're feeling better, and you're in my hearts and prayers, or heart in prayers, not hearts. So thankful for you. So very proud of you. I mean, it just like has everything, even a vertical happy birthday. We don't have vertical stamps very often. So when I saw this one, I particularly wanted it for that. then after I got the stamp set, realized because of the variations of font and the sentiments too, it's like, it's perfect. So, having said that, I am going to take this and lay it over here. Will it fit? It will. All right, I'm going to do, hope your day is a happy one. That's kind of small for this stamp or this spot. I think this spot's going to be fine for the knowing you brings joy to my heart. I love that. Very nice. And you can have your choice if you're going to, I've got it on pecan pie, so I guess I'll just go ahead with pecan pie. If you're going to have another mat with that pecan pie, you can do, you could also do it with your shaded spruce, your sentiment. Just make sure that when you're doing your sentiment, you might best plan that you can change anytime you want to, because, you know, every design thing is one of these ever-changing sort of things. So if you're going to have another color, a third color, you could do that one too. Generally, just having 2 colors in a card is good, but you can go 3 and you can go more than that too. Just be careful. Don't get too carried away. Sometimes it can get to be a bit too much. If you go, once you go beyond 3, it can get a little bit busy. All right, now, what else do I want to do? You could take your same stamp if you wanted to and do a little bit of your trees on there. That would actually look really nice. But I think instead I'm going to just cut out of this. Let's use this one. I'm going to cut out one of the nested stamp or nested die pieces. That's kind of going up and down there, and then we'll put this here. Let's use the bigger one. Okay, and then this is going to go there. That's perfect. Now I'm going to lay this on here and make sure it's not going to cover up too much of my trees. I really don't want all of them covered up. That's not bad. I might even want it over here on this side. Yeah, I think so. But I think that's a good size. I lay the die right on my cards to see how big of the die I want. Because sometimes, yeah, I have a bunch already cut out. I find I sometimes don't use them if I cut out my pieces ahead of all these little labels and everything. If I cut them out ahead of time, oh, sometimes I don't use them all. It's fine if you're using up scraps that way and then you have it all ready to go for making cards. But if I have too many laying around, I might not get to it, and that's a little bit annoying just to have something laying out there that I'm not actually even using, and I took time to make it. It's a little tiresome. Okay, let's look at that. And then the other thing about it is you can, that just calls out for bringing in ribbon, doesn't it? Doesn't that just cry out for some ribbon? Now, I believe we've got some shaded spruce, but I know I do have this wonderful soft succulent that I never use. So I'm going to pull that out first, and let's check it out and see if it's going to work. This is my, not soft succulent, I mean evening evergreen. I love that. It's gorgeous. I never use this one. So I'm going to put it on top here like that and under that. So let's stick this on first. Okay, we'll use our little dimensionals, make sure it's, I've got a bunch of white ink still on the side here from where I'm trying to clean off my poor little craft pad, my little white craft pad. All right, that's now partially green. I'm gonna just throw all these pieces right here because I'm gonna I think it's all going to stick to that little bit of craft pad stuff. Oh, I didn't even get to the embossed one. I was going to do the white embossed. Do I have time? It's already 2:30. My goodness, time goes so fast. All right, so I'm going to stick this here. Like so. Let's make sure it's not crooked. That's pretty good. And then we'll wrap our ribbon around that. I think to help me out, I'm going to take a bit of tape and we'll put that on there. That'll kind of give my, is this run out? This feels like it's run out. No, there is some in there. Good. I just need a tiny bit just to help me hold my ribbon down while I tie it into a bow at the top. Oops, that's too short. Try that again. There we go. That's still a little short, but it'll be fine. Jeff and I also went to a sunflower festival. Oh, they were so beautiful. I didn't know, never been to a sunflower festival, but they have a bunch of them here. I did not know that. Like all over various parts of the Missouri. So we went to one in Willard. Oh man, they were so beautiful. We're going to be on vacation for a while, and we're going to miss some things, but I hope we get back in time for our Laura Ingalls Wilder events, because in Manson, Missouri, they have, I'm pretty sure the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum does some kind of, you know, fall festival, but I know they have a fiddler contest. Doesn't that sound like fun? A fiddler contest? Do you remember the stories where Pa played his fiddle? So they have a fiddler contest. It sounds like lots of fun. I'm sure they're really good. I love that. That's nice. We need a little bit of bling on that. So let's see if I've got some Evening Evergreen would be good. I know I've got some green rhinestones like right here. Oops, I dropped something. This is called Tinsel Gems, and they look very green. Doesn't tell me what colors they are, but Tinsel Gems look really, really appropriate here. So let's start with one and look at it. And then we'll put another one up here and look at that. Okay, the trouble with the gems is I always get too carried away. And it's like, oh, why did I put so many of them on? We'll put one little one down here. Okay, and one more little one. See, this is where it starts to get too much. One little one. We'll put one more little one right up here. And then stop. Stop before you get too carried away. It starts to get like super messy. At this point, I just think, I don't even like those. I'm going to take those off. This is what I always do. It's like, oh, that's too fussy, too much. I don't like that. Let's put this little one on there. Okay, we'll take this big one off. We'll put these two little ones here. Oh, there you go. That's better. Much better. I just didn't, I always put too many on, and then I take a picture of the card and I post it, and I think that's way too much bling. Sometimes it falls off in the mail anyway. So anyhow, that is that. Now I did want to do an embossed one. Should we give it a go? I think I might have time for it, and I really wanted to see how it would turn out. So let's take our what is this? This is so shaded spruce is what this is. And we're going to do an embossed version with white really quick just to see how it all looks. It won't take very long. Believe me, it doesn't take long at all. I'm going to going to pull out, this is my piece of paper that I'm going to put the embossed powder in. Where is my powder? I thought I got it out and I'm not seeing it anywhere. Pretty sure I pulled it out. Where are you, powder? I wanted to do white. Oh, there it is. Okay. So first of all, before you ever do any embossing, make sure you take your embossing buddy. You can get this in our pack of embossing things. Okay, I'm doing that to get that out. It's cornstarch or something like that. And I want to make sure it's really liberally applied, because then nothing is going to stick where I don't want it to stick. So make sure you do that. That's probably one of the most important things when you're embossing. And then you're going to use your first mark. Okay, do that very liberally also all over here. I turned off my overhead fan so that it does not blow my powder all around. Wasn't that smart of me? I can't believe I remembered to do that. Okay, now we're going to have to act fast after we stamp it. So let's stamp it this direction, okay? Okay, so where's my tool? There it is. So we'll push this down. I don't want to push too terribly hard because I think that might have been what was impacting what I did before. Act fast. Get your powder on here. It looks like I kind of didn't get it stamped good enough right there. I'm kind of running out of my white powder. I'm going to have to buy some more. If you're, having a hard time getting it all on there, never fear. Take this. This is what's going to, end up with having extra. What's this? A little spot. I don't want that in there. Just move this around so it covers everything good. Even if you didn't have quite enough powder to cover it, because that's a pretty large area. Just move it around. Okay, now once that's, I see right here, I needed just a little more powder right there on that corner. Okay, now we've got powdered up. Take your fingers and just flick it, getting off all that excess. That's going to get rid of some of the stuff that was making my, this one, like just blah, no detail. I still want more detail up there. So I'm going to flick that. That's looking better. Yeah, I think this is looking a little better. The only thing I'm seeing is that right here, it looks like I could use a little bit of my powder in there still. Okay, I think that's as good as we're going to get. And then here on this stamp, it's not going to matter if you have little flecks of white. Normally, though, when you're embossing, you don't want little flecks of stuff, showing up. Get that out of there. And there's my powder back, ready to do business again. Okay. I think that looks pretty clean, but I do need more. All right, now we're going to see how this worked out. We'll get the tool heated up. Oh, I'm hopeful. This is going to look better than my other one. We will see. This is the fun part when you get to see the color change as it embosses. So pretty. This is a big piece. Got lots of stuff to heat up. So if it starts to buckle and do weird things, come from underneath. And you can heat it up from underneath too to kind of try to keep your cardstock flat and not buckling up too much. It tends to do that. I'm liking this much better. What do you think? Don't you think this looks better than that glittered stuff I did? It's still, pretty covered, but I'm seeing a lot more of the detail. It looks great. For a nice background for a card, I think this will look really good. I am very happy with how that's turning out. Now, while this is hot, I suppose I could put some glitter in there. It'd give me a little bit of glitter, but I don't think I'd want to because it'd probably just cover up my detail again. There, this spot right there, yeah, it looks like that's where my label's gonna go because I can kind of see where it didn't emboss well enough there. But other than that, I like it. That's pretty. I think that looks better than this one. The glitter just kind of covers all of that up. And here I can see right through to see some of my, you know, greens behind the white. And here I just can't even see it. So there we go. I think that's not bad. I do like the stamped one better, but that is not bad. I think that's as good. And so we've got the makings of several really nice cards. And where's the one that I just made? I don't even see it. It's here somewhere. I don't even know where it is. Is this it? No, that's not it. Oh, well. Oh, here it is. This is the one I haven't actually completed because we would need to put it on a card, you know, that is folded and ready to go. But because I use very vanilla and I don't have one of those folded and ready, I'm going to just not mount it on there. So there we go. This is what we did. We did all of these cards. So many great backgrounds that you can do with this Fragrant forest. And just so that you can remember that background with the copper clay, and then our little tamarack forest with pecan pie and crumb cake underneath. All very pretty, very nice cards. Those are going to be really nice. You can do them as Christmas cards. You can do them as fall get-together type cards, all kinds of really cool things. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and sharing my videos, liking it, all of that. I had my webpage on there. It's just kathycrowscards.com. If you want to go on there, you can subscribe to my newsletter. The newsletter has tutorials every week. And I have those all scheduled, ready to go out. When we are on vacation, they will still be coming out to you. I'll have to pop on and do something, I guess, for my lives. I'm not sure how I will manage that because we're going to be gone for a while on a long road trip. We'll see how that works out. See if Jeff and I have killed each other by the time we're nearing the end of it. I'm sure we'll be fine. All right. You take care. Have a wonderful week. Have good memories for the day. This is a day of tragedy in so many ways. So our prayers, again, go out to the families who need that. And it's actually a tragedy for our whole nation as we remember all of the things that came out of that, all the things that were not so good that have come out of it. But, you know, tragedy, it does make people stronger. So in many ways, I think we are stronger, and definitely looking for ways to protect. And hopefully the world is going to be following that example too, of protecting and helping those who need it and who aren't able to protect themselves. Thank you so much for all of our service members and other support staff, for all of our first responders, and all along the line. There are so many different professions that falls over, you know, that come under that category. So we just know that our prayers are with you, and I hope everyone has a rest of the great week. Bye-bye.